On the program today, Cherry News as old Port Harcourt refinery is revived. We look at the impact it will have on pricing and supply in the FCT.
We'll stay with issues of the 16 days of activism and review prevention and response mechanisms.
And later in sports, second edition of the African Military Games ends today.
Hello everyone, this is live from Abuja, a show that takes you through events that shapes the week in Nigeria and across the world. From
politics, news, entertainment and sports, I am Ademola Lawrence.
I am Jean Francis Mwense.
Interesting conversations we'll be having today, but we'll begin with news in the newly refurbished and revived Port Harcourt refinery alongside all other operating refineries in Nigeria. We contribute to supply security for Nigeria and reduce the dependency on importation and the related dollar needed for those imports.
Refineries also contribute to technology developments and employment. Pricing will always be determined by, international market forces, both within and outside the country. But one could expect that using locally produced crude and reduction of imports would overall reduce the costs of logistics, especially.
Here in the FCT, these new developments will ultimately give room for an alternative to getting adequate supply from not only importation. And of course, joining us live as the Director of Natural Resources, National Civil Society of Nigeria, Charles Livinus Ibiang, will join us on the station this morning to talk about this cheerful news about the Port Harcourt refinery. Good morning to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Interested conversation that we'll be having this morning. Nigerians are happy, yeah, after so many delays, after so many hopes that are high, we finally have a refinery that's...
I think you're jumping the gun because you're not Nigerian, so we need to ask you if it's true. Nigerian news. You're one Nigerian. We're almost 1 billion president.
But let's start with that. So it's really cherry news to hear that Nigeria has another refinery after so many years that the refinery couldn't come up. Now that we have another one up and running, let's first have your take on that before we go to the specifics of what the issues are.
Thank you so much for having me. Let me also use this opportunity to congratulate NNPC and also the president, because it happens during his time, for being able to revamp our refinery. Recall that there have been a lot of stories about turnaround maintenance of our old refinery. And all the stories that we have been hearing, at the end of the day, nothing will be achieved. But today, it's a good thing to hear that the Port Harcourt refinery, the old Port Harcourt refinery, have come on stream and is operating at the level of 95%. I think that is a cherry news. May I use this medium to congratulate NNPC, the board in particular, and also the management. The board headed by a very industry professional, Chief Pius Akinlore. He's quiet in the background. A lot of people don't want to say much about him, but you can see that he has been achieving results with NNPC and also Engineer Malekari for what they have done. I think it's a cherry news, and they deserve all the commendations they can get.
All right. So, when we talk about the revival of the Port Harcourt refinery, one would want to ask, what's the direct impact that this would have on Nigerian citizens, especially people who live in a place like Abuja?
Thank you so much for that. If you look at it, it's an economic issue, and in economics there are simple issues of demand and supply, and where the demand becomes supply becomes quite increased, definitely against the demand, that definitely will lead to fall in price. But let us look at the implication. The overall implication of Port Harcourt refinery coming on stream may not be immediate, may not be very, very immediate, because what Nigerians want to know, because of the biting situation that was as a result of subsidy removal and other economic reforms that are going on, may want to see a reduced price. But that may not come in the immediate. But at the long run, definitely we are going to experience that. And you can also see signs showing up even within the Dangote refinery recently in the media and others, that they are saying that prices are reducing. These are speculations, but we know that is the direction it's going to take. Globally, increase in supply definitely will, to a large extent, lead to a reduction in price. Because if you follow that international statistics and trend going on, you will discover that the further increment in supply as a result of coming up upstream of most of the refineries in the world, will to a large extent is affecting already the global supply issues. It's affecting them. Statistics have shown for us that we have not less than about 824 refinery capacity in the world, and we have about 181 coming on stream, which Nigeria is part of. So if having these to coming on stream again, to a large extent to be able to add to supply, will invariably affect global prices. If you follow also this statistics even from the USEG, you will also see that diesel prices are to a large extent going down, except LPG, petrol, others are also still going up. So this is the overall impact that this may have gradually in the country. It is going to increase supply in the country. It's also going to affect to a large extent what we totally spent on importation. Our dollar, you know where it is now, and this type of production definitely is going to help. And also the entire ecosystem around our Harcourt refinery region, the LMA or Krika as is, the economic activity there will boost to meet up the demands of some of the new marketing or trading activity that may result in that place. So that invariably is going to affect at the long run.
Okay, so I wanted us to look at the pricing issues, and I also want us to look at, for example, when the refinery opened up on Tuesday, NNPCL said the trucks loaded, that will be loaded every day, will be 200 trucks. Of course, there have been issues in the media whether it's truly 200 trucks that will be loaded or not. And allegations upon allegations whether NNPC is being transparent about what they are actually doing in terms of the PH refinery. If you look at how that translates to 200 trucks a day, the Dangote refinery, how much are they going to be supplying a day? Would that eventually reduce the pricing, the cost of pricing? Then I want you to tie it down to Abuja, for example. For example, in the north, we have the Kaduna refinery that is not up yet. And that's a major one, because that also suffices that it's going to be a bit difficult, because transporting from Port Harcourt down to Abuja is not that easy. Lagos is our best bet here in Abuja. How does all of that, affect and impact the people of FCT?
Pricing in Abuja.
Yeah.
In pricing. Okay. First and foremost, FCT, you people are enjoying the benefit of hosting the seat of power. So whatever is going to happen in any part of the country, Abuja may likely be the first beneficiary. That is very sincere. That is my own sincere.
How do you mean?
Yes, because a lot of people want to prove themselves first that they are doing well by making Abuja to be a bit comfortable. When I mean Abuja, the environment, the people may look, but they want to make the seat of power to be comfortable to a large extent. It may be political, but they just want to give that impression that something good is happening, so it must be felt in Abuja. That is one consideration Abuja likely gets in most of the issues in the country. That is an advantage, political advantage. But in the overall, the issue of pricing as concerning this, if we want to, let us just look at these issues clearly. NNPC, the total installed capacity of the entire Nigerian refinery, which NNPC was formerly selling, was 450,000 barrels per day. Out of that, Dangote is taking a chunk of that, which is almost about 300,000 barrels. Now, which he's using for his production as part of his feeder stock. The remaining 150 are the ones that are distributed around most of the refineries. Apart from Dangote, there are other Watersmith refineries and other smaller refineries that are sharing this. Now, by coming off stream of NNPC, that automatically means that part of what goes to Dangote will definitely decrease, because there must be feeder stock, which was originally that of NNPC, to the refineries. That automatically will decrease that of Dangote. But I expected Dangote refinery already, it is expected that if you are planning a refinery, you must also have a strategic long-term plan on getting a feeder stock, apart from in-country, both outside and in mix. That brings us to the issue of even blending that people are talking about.
Exactly.
Which is a global trend. It's not something that is new. It's just trying to being able to have a mixture of different trade, crude oil blend, crude different type of crude oil, bring them together, enable to process them, maybe to have a specific direct product objective to meet up maybe competition. For example, it's a simple thing for just, if you want to say these things, people may look as if it's rocket science. Let me just try to break it down so that our viewers can understand what blend is. It's like you want to produce palm oil. In producing palm oil, generally we know that it's from the palm fruit, you bring from palm fruit, you put it down, you process it, you sell. Now, if you want to make it to be more red, you understand, without necessarily adding any thing to it, is for you to say, okay, we are going to add so thing in our own to make it more better red so that others can appreciate it more. It's not because it's reducing the value, but it's because you are trying to have an edge over how beautiful it may look to those outside. Also, like cream, you mix A and B together to get a better blend. It is a global practice. It is not something anybody, people are beginning to give it the negative narration that is going on, which is not right. So at the end of the day, how do we benefit? It is my own objective assessment call on NNPC and the president in particular to be able to put more effort in getting Kaduna and Warri Refinery on stream, because we no more have subsidy. You remember we used to have Petroleum Equalization Fund. The Petroleum Equalization Fund was the fund put together in order to enable people in the north, unlike Lagos and River, to buy fuel at the same price. We do not have those subsidy regime again. So if you are bringing fuel from that particular, from Rivers, from Lagos, where we have the marine structure that deliver this fuel to each of us, and also to truck them to Abuja, definitely require transport. It's a huge logistic. The cost on that long distance you travel to the north is what is going to translate to definitely the consumers. Right. So how do we cushion that? Is to enable refinery in Kaduna to come on stream so that the proximity to every part of the north will be there. Yeah. And secondly, for government to put up a structure in that direction to be able to make sure everybody gets is fuel at that point. But however, it's a free market economy. If you can bring it to Kaduna lesser, better for you. All you need is that turnover volume to enable you go back and pick your stock. What matters mostly, businesses in the downstream is a little margins. That is what happens. So I think that is just my take on that.
All right, but then, when we have this conversation, sometimes it's a bit mind-boggling to think that something as big as refineries, just woke up one morning and shut down in Nigeria. So now we're talking about, we used to have Port Harcourt, we used to have Kaduna, we used to have Warri, and all of a sudden they stopped and we're depending totally on imports for something that we rely on to survive. So now that we have started reviving them, how do we ensure that it's not something that would depend on one man's will? I mean, this has happened because maybe the president was determined to see it, and so he says we take off subsidy. And how do we ensure that the structure remains constant, irrespective of who is in power?
Thank you so much. As somebody who is an industry watcher, I will see that to a large extent, the president has been able to allow professionals to run that industry so far, unlike what we have seen in the past. That is what is translating to what we are seeing happening today. And it has also guaranteed the stability of leadership at NNPC. NNPC is a complex begamor, the way it is structured. It has so many divisions, so many units. If you bring anybody, no matter how intelligent management, I'm from the management, if you bring that person to come and manage NNPC, it will take him around 6 to almost a year to understand the various units and divisions within NNPC. But what has the president done? He has allowed stability of leadership. A lot of people question that. Remove Malekari, take him out. But the president observed that one of the biggest problems of NNPC is political interference. I can just send anybody to NNPC, go and meet this. Anytime they need any competing demand in any issue, they will go to NNPC and get the money. But the president, to a large extent, have been isolated them from that. And you can see that we are seeing results. And that is very key. We can achieve results with this. When they say government don't have any business in God, it's a lie. Those things are not true. All over the world, some of the successful businesses are owned by government. successful businesses. UPS in US owned by government. China, one of the biggest energy companies owned by government. Petrobras owned by government. Saudi Aramco owned by government. What matters is the political will for the right people to head such an organization. And I think that Chief Pius is an industrial expert coming in to be the chairman. Very quiet, nobody is hearing about him, but we are seeing the result. This is what matters. We need to allow core professionals to man that particular refinery. I may suggest an hybrid of the private sector who have complete industry knowledge to manage these sources we are seeing in terms of particular refinery. There's a question I didn't answer when they say 200 liters, not 200 liters coming out. These things, I think there have been a lot of myths and disinformation going on, which is not right. And I think it's coming from the competition. I must say that. Even me, as somebody who is in the industry will know that it's coming a lot of competition. And if you look at this refinery that just started, before they can open up to people, they must have test run it before they bring everybody. And if they test run it and they say this is what we are producing, 200 liters, this is going forward, not immediate. It's like going forward because it's still not at full capacity. There are a lot of teething problems that involve starting up a process.
But unfortunately, that's NNPC put out that statement put out that statement as if the 200 trucks were going to load that day.
That's why I say if you look at how the story was put, I don't want to go brief for anything.
No problem.
But if you look at the way the story say 200, this is what will be coming out from that refinery going forward. That is the base. They cannot, even for somebody who I know Port refinery very well, I understand the environment, I understand the nature, how it has been working. I also live in Port Harcourt for a very long time. I've also worked in the energy sector, so I understand what is going on. So when they say the thing is going to come, what NNPC is currently having is the CO stock they got from Dangote. NNPC has that old stock now, which they are taking, still supplying to their people. Then for this one that they just produced, about 1.8 million liters, and that alone presently is going only to NNPC stores. That is their own filling stations directly, which are within that ecosystem where the refinery is. You can't just ferry that to others. So that's why at the long run, what will be is that as this ramp up this refining capacity, what will happen? It will definitely cascade around to other parts of the country. So if the Port Harcourt environs, for example, the Niger Delta environment cannot take most of this excess, what happens? It moves to other area. That is, to the long run, will definitely affect the price. I think that is on that basis I'm looking at it.
All right. So when you say, going forward, I remember that also, according to the NNPC, I think right now they're on 70% capacity, and they're trying to get to 90% before the end of the year. So how realistic is getting to 90%? And do you think that we'll start seeing this, large number, even if it's not 200 trucks, as Demola is insisting on?
Just to add to it, so while you answer that question, the 70 to 90, how the competition will be between the Dangote refinery and of course the Port Harcourt refinery, how would that affect or have an impact on Nigerians generally, having to know that we now have refineries coming up, side by side.
And it's too powerful refineries.
Too powerful refineries. That can reduce the cost. Excuse me, I want to buy fuel for 500.
Sincerely, let me really not boast here, as in the popular side, not boast here, but you may likely buy fuel at a cheaper, let me say for 1 naira, 2 naira, a bit lower than what for in the meantime. I say in the meantime, but going forward, by the time NPC ramp up this thing to 90. Now, there is a little mass. Let me just do something here, you understand. A barrel, just a barrel, has no less than about 158 liters. Now, by the time you put that barrel, 158 liters, which is a barrel, into a refinery component to refine, it has what we call a processing gain. It now moves from 150 by the time they hit to about 178. Now, that is what we have, that little increase from 58 to almost 178.
That's like
12. Yeah, it's what we call the processing gain. How that happened, I'm not a scientist, but that is a standard. Now, by the time you just put that, if you look at the entire chain, you will see that what exactly is petroleum component of that refining is almost about 72. Petrol, because the other variable, the other the first set of it, petrol, gasoline, all that, so many other this thing. But the one that is petrol is about 40, which is about 72 liters. If you put that 72 liters by 60,000 capacity that it represents, you can easily get a figure of how the number that may likely come out that involve PMS. PMS, not any other. I think NNPC was able to, at the first press conference, able to give out some of these numbers, 1.8. As it gets to 90, definitely it may move from what have this value I've given it, move up. And once it move up, the total consumption volume of Nigeria, daily consumption of PMS, is put at about 45 to 50. It has decreased to about 4 point something million. So it's decreasing. So by the time Dangote is coming on stream, by the time NPC is coming on stream, Water Street is coming on stream, there is another refinery also that is coming up around Cross River and others. By the time they come on stream and supply becomes excess in the country, one thing definitely will happen. Competition will step in. And that automatically, that is when
you can buy fuel
for that amount.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
yes, thank you very much.
This was really insightful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll still have more for you online from Abaya. Do go and we'll be right back.
Advocate and a published author. I am the founder of Celebration, a businesswoman, and a fashion icon. I am a wealth coach and a real estate developer.
I am Amaka Rakwe. I'm a corporate commercial lawyer and an entrepreneur.
Welcome to Warhaka. I am Ramatu Shehu Oyibo, an entrepreneur and a business coach.
I am the voice of an average Muslim woman, an hijabite, and a lawyer.
I am a polymath and a serial entrepreneur.
I am Murayo Afolabi Brown, Managing Director, TVC Entertainment. I'm a media consultant, producer, and broadcaster.
The ladies of your view are made of women from different professions, tribes, cultures, and religion. Join us every Monday to Friday as we share our views on topical and social issues.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. Without the news from every perspective. Covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.